The more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It just becomes obvious that they're totally full of shit. They're just a bunch of posers pretending they're flying through space. But I think they're in a swimming pool on Earth. They're lying to your face. It's a disgrace. The more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It's just so obvious they're full of shit. I call it fraud. They're trying to hide God with their fairy tales of outer space, lying to the human race. It's a disgrace. The more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It almost seems low budget. 60 million a day is a lot to have to pay. These charlatans in white lab coats. Space is a blank check. How much would you expect it to cost? They say space is hard. It clearly is. 'Cause we've gotten nowhere. Although we've dumped endless amounts of money into these programs. Can you think of a damn thing they've really done for anyone other than brainwash society into believing something that just is not demonstrable? Indeed, the more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It just becomes obvious that they're totally full of shit. They're pretending they're flying through space, but I think they're in a swimming pool, and they're lying to your face every day. fly on top of a rocket and travel 17,000 miles per hour into a place where there's no air, and then live there. Hopefully you don't run out of air to breathe. We must not believe this, because nobody wants to be an astronaut. When was the last time you talked to an old friend who followed through with a career of being an astronaut? If so, can we talk to them and interview them? Ask them about their space adventures. They're probably full of shit. We will know when we're done talking about it with them. Everything an astronaut says always leaves you feeling unfulfilled. It's almost like you need to swallow a bottle of blue pills to carry on with this charade. I hope people wake up from their slumber, 'cause until then, NASA's got your number. 60 million a day. You think you could pay for a better presentation? But the more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It's just so obvious they're full of shit. Pretending they're flying through space, isn't it cool? But I think they're in a swimming pool. You can see the bubbles rising. Bubbles in space, a new phenomenon that we still have yet to fully understand. Even the damn astronauts don't know about them yet. They think they're flecks of paint. I can tell the difference between a fleck of paint and a bubble in space. It's quite easy to see. I could think of a better excuse. I would say something like, well, these spacesuits we use, they're rather nifty, you see. When we breathe out, they have a ventilator system that gathers condensation from the moisture in our breath. And then it sort of gets compressed from the vacuum of space until it forms a bubble and floats off into the vacuum. Yes, that's what happens. We're blowing soap bubbles out of our spacesuits, because when they're new, they still have a film on them of like some soap that we cleaned them with, and it causes a bubble. Yeah, that's it. Yes. Flecks of paint. Come on, man. I'm better at lying than that guy. See, they got to teach these guys to lie on the spot, like improvise with lies, improvise with lies, improvise with lies, improvise your lies better there, Mr. Scott, whatever his name is. Scott something or other, or something Scott. I forget what it is. Travis Scott. Travis Scott. No, that's a singer. No, it's, what's that astronaut's name? That one dude. Travis, I think his name was. I'm really bad with names right now. That guy's a champ, though. He fucking got into like one of these like talks, you know, where this famous astronaut, you know, from the ISS, he's talking about space to all this crowd of like, you know, believers. Just like you can see the gleam in their eyes. They're just like, oh, they're hypnotized. And then dude stands up. He's all, oh, can you tell me something about bubbles in space? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's all, well, you see these videos of the ISS spacewalks, you can see there's bubbles in space. What's up with the bubbles in space? He's like, I don't know. He's also, well, like space is a really harsh environment, and the ISS, it's been traveling through there a long time, and like it, sometimes there'll be like a fleck of paint that goes by or something. I don't know anything about bubbles. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, are you sure you're not in a swimming pool on Earth? I think there was actual like laughter from the crowd too, the crowd of believers. Just totally called him out, just like right in his face. It's so good. It's so good. That's so priceless. That dude deserves the Flurf Award. The Flurf Prize. You win Flurf Prize. It's so funny. And then he caught that dude again by like, that was like God. Like when there's synchronicity on this level, I mean, because I do believe that guy is sincere and genuine, the flat earther that went and confronted him. Because then there was another time where it just so happened that the same astronaut that he had busted his balls, the same dude was showing up at a fucking cafe or something somewhere. He had all his bodyguards and everything with him, but the dude that asked him about the bubbles just happened to be walking by and sees him. He's like, there's that fucking astronaut. And he catches him right as he's going in, and he's like, hey man, it's me. Hey, he's doing some book signing or something, and and he's all, hey, it's me, remember me? And the guy's like, I don't know, he's like, I'm the guy that asked you about bubbles in space. He's all, oh God. He's all, thanks for coming to see my book or whatever. Gets away as quick as he can. Those astronauts are quick, man, whenever that's one thing they've gotten good at improvising, is just getting the fuck out of there if someone's asking them questions. Oh, I gotta go. What do you mean, bubbles in space? What are you talking about? You're funny. You got him twice on camera. Oh, it's so beautiful. Because it's like, if they can't just get a sense of humor for one thing, and then on top of that, like, come up with a decent reply for a fucking genuine, like, that wasn't him trolling him. He was just asking him, like, what is up with the bubbles in space? We've seen enough of it now where it's like highly sus because nobody talks about it, What's up with the bubbles? We've got videos of them. You've given us the videos with their bubbles in space. You haven't seen those videos that you've given us? Well, there's bubbles in them. We're not hallucinating, dude. It's definitely seen. It's been witnessed many times now. And, all you sus-ass fuckers on the world stage have yet to really address it. Although there's people coming on the world stage saying the Earth is flat now. And we have yet to see an astronaut even address that or try to rebut that at all. Because astronauts are the only people on Earth who would know that the flat Earth is wrong. You think they would put a little effort into shutting it down because it's growing, whether people even realize it or not. There's a lot more flat earthers now than there was 5 years ago. I'll bet there's going to be a lot more by 5 years from now. It's not slowing down. It's picking up speed. And my opinion about the Antarctica trip, where Jaren's going down there with Witsit, these guys from the Final Experiment, or just the Flat Earth, whatever you want to think those initials stand for. TFE, they're going down there. What I'm doing about all that is I'm taking the approach of like, well, let's just let them, we haven't known these guys before. The Duffy dude, he seems kind of sus, but like, let's just take him at face value for what it's worth, Why the fuck not? I mean, we can assume there's all kinds of other weird, shady shit going on if we feel like it. I mean, in the back of my mind, I think it's pretty sus. But in the front of my mind, I'm just thinking, well, let's just take him at face value. Why not? If he proves us wrong on that, well, then we'll be like, well, you didn't exactly trick us, because there was plenty of people talking about how you seem pretty sus, But in the case where he pulls through and it was a genuine endeavor, and you take him at face value and just be like, well, then you don't look like a total ass, for one thing. I'd rather not look like an ass, and I'd rather not be an ass. If somebody's presenting something like a gift to Antarctica, whether they seem sus or respectful of the flat earth community in some, in a way that seems like, I think he's pretty rude about how he's talked about flat earthers, but like, that's what a genuine glober talks like, though. You know, they look down on us, and I guess they have a right to do so because we're totally blown against the wind, running against the grain, so to speak. But I don't know. People have a right to say whatever the fuck they want. That's what free speech is all about, and we have a right to respond however we want. You know, and I'm taking the approach of like, I'm not going to judge anybody until I have, you know, good reason to. And right now, it just he's a dude who's offering free trips to Antarctica for flat earthers because he's so convinced that he's going to see something down there that debunks flat Earth. And I'm of the opinion it's like you can't debunk objective reality, but I do understand Jaren's point, which is like if there is a 24-hour sun down there, that really does throw a big ass monkey wrench in the flat Earth concept because it's difficult to understand how there would be 24 hours of sunlight down there while the rest of the Earth is getting the sun that they get for that time of year. It's almost as though the Earth would have to be shaped in a strange way in order for that to work. It does make sense, actually, what Jaren's point is. However, you know, we do have to stay as objective as possible and consider the fact that, like, the sky, when we look at the sky, we're studying the sky. And yes, there is a relationship between the sky and the ground. I mean, because everywhere you go on the ground, the sky is right up there above you. But I'm still of the opinion that there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. There's probably 24 hours of light, which is a phenomenon that people are still, you know, grappling with. Because it's not like anybody could just go down there whenever they want. It's really expensive, and it's, you know, it's sketchy, dude. The whole thing is sketchy about Antarctica. And, you know, there's been fake videos of it that have come out. Fake videos of the 24-hour sun. Why would people fake it if it's something that you could just go make a real... It's like, there's no fake videos of the northern 24-hour sun. You don't have to fake it. Why would you bother? Granted, it's easier to go there, but if you're already in Antarctica during that time of year, why would you... Like, it doesn't make sense that there'd be any fake videos of it. And the fact that there wasn't any videos of it at all until Flat Earth came along and pointed out that there was zero evidence of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. In 2015, you think there'd be a little more evidence of this supposed globe proof, and there wasn't any. And then these fake videos showed up, and now there's a ton of videos, you know. Now there's this, like, agency that'll bring you down there, and, you know, if you pay $30,000 or whatever to go on a flight to Antarctica and stay in a tent, you know, and poop in a can and fucking... There's like quiet time where you got to go in your tent at like 10 o'clock. It's like, well, we're down here to see the 24-hour sun. Why? It should just be like, you know, you're free to just sit there and you know, gasp in awe at the amazing phenomena that you went down there to see. There shouldn't be a quiet time. That's so silly. It's so silly. Well, people are on a schedule. They want to sleep. Yeah, but they're down there to see the 24-hour sun. Well, you'll notice that the nighttime never came. You know, you'll be in your tent, you'll wake up, you know, at night, and there won't be night. And you wake up in the morning, and it's still light outside, and here comes, there's the sun again. I mean, the sun, still. It's like, I could see how if there was 24 hours of light down there, you could run a pretty good hustle, you know? I mean, it seems sketchy, really, it does. I admit that. But it's like, you know, you get people down there. There's not that many people that are actually going to sit in one spot for 24 hours and film, and, you know, maybe they set up a camera and try to catch it for, you know, but you would think there'd be a lot of that going on, but like, I think it's really difficult to actually sit in one spot for 24 hours and observe a phenomena that you're already under the impression that, like, you already believe it wholeheartedly. You're not down there to see if it's true or not. You're just down there to witness it. And so you see this, you know, it's, wow, it's the sun, you know, and it's like, and you get distracted and you're doing whatever, and you notice the nighttime never comes. You know, the whole time you're down there, it's like it never got dark. I was there in the 24-hour sun, you know, you come back like, you know, I didn't get footage of it, or I got some footage, but I have to like splice it all together, you know, and it's like doctored, you know, okay, it wasn't really like legit, but I don't know, why would you make a fake one of it? It's like you went down there and captured a bunch of sun footage and spliced it all together and be like, there, look. Well, it never got dark. Is that good enough? Well, it's not, actually. It's not good enough, because we can actually explain that with certain reproducible, demonstrable science, which, you know, the coffee cup caustic, the fact that it's possibly an ice ring that goes around the entire Earth. 2 mile thick piece of ice. Why is there a 2 mile thick piece of ice in a place where there's 6 months of sun every year? Nothing but sun. That also doesn't add up. But technically, if the flat Earth, my understanding of Earth is correct, and this is all just like, me, just conjecture or whatever. It's like there technically is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but it's not in any one place because that's the biggest circle the sun makes, right? And so it's in that area for 24 hours, but the area is a huge ring, and it's not necessarily in that area. It's witnessable from that. You can witness it from that area because you got to keep in mind it's lighting up the rest of the Earth too, except for the very middle. It's dark there for 6 months of the year. But here you got to understand that it's like the sun is reflecting off this piece of ice, and there's possibly even like a dome over us. I still don't know about all that. I haven't seen it, so I can't vouch for it. But it seems to it's a fun thing to think about, if anything. But like, people can recreate, in a lab, just with a fucking coffee cup and a fucking light source. When you're hitting the side, it'll light up the whole fucking ring, I mean, that's a real simplistic way of explaining it, but like, it's a known phenomenon. So the 24 hours of light is something the flat Earth can easily absorb, and in fact has already, staked that claim as like, if there's 24 hours of light, that's not a problem for flat Earth. If there's 24 hours of sun in the sky above Antarctica, that's going to be something we got to grapple with. It's going to be pretty difficult. Yet, I'm still of the mind that like, I mean, there's so much, like, to go back to the globe, you have to eat so much shit. It's fucking, it's like, come on, man. Like, you're getting caught up in the moment thinking you're going to go back to the globe because of the 24 hours, if there was one in Antarctica. Because, like, if you really think about how much shit you'll have to eat to go back to the globe, because there's nothing but fraud and deception, and we've uprooted all that. We're not tripping, dude. Just pat yourself on the back. That wasn't a big hallucination. We've uprooted it. We've fucking exposed a lot of fraud and a lot of deception and just outright lies and just, regular observations that completely debunk the model, like the Selenelian eclipse, where the moon is having a lunar eclipse is occurring while the sun is still visible in the sky. It's supposed to be the shadow of Earth, and the shadow is approaching the moon from the top down. And the sun's still visible while the lunar eclipse is happening. There's so much mental gymnastics you have to cope in order to fucking still believe the model. It's supposed to be the shadow of Earth being cast on the moon from the top down, mind you, while the sun is still in the sky, visible. You can see both the eclipse and the sun. That's not how shadows work, dude, and at all. It's like, it just flies in the face of the fucking accepted cosmology in such a major way that they refer to it as the impossible eclipse that happens on a schedule. It's like, it's the way the verbiage they use when they explain certain phenomena are like the experiment I always talk about, this Aries failure. This guy Aries, he did a science experiment to where he had concluded that if by what he was going to conduct in this experiment would prove whether or not it was the Earth rotating or the sky rotating. And
I forgot the hash brown, but I'm making it.
oh, thank you, baby. I love you so much. I love you. Oh, good. I love you. Oh, that's a good one, babe. So he put water in his telescope because of the way light refracts. Yeah, that's a new word. It's refracting combined with laxative. It's refraction that makes you... Okay, never mind. So refraction of light. The way the water in the telescope was refracting the starlight or whatever, it was... I'm not going to tell you that I fully understand what his experiment was supposed to really... how it was, the logic behind it, but there are smart people that understand it, mind you. I'm just saying, it's like the guy's experiment was conducted correctly the way he was supposed to, the way he said he was going to do it, right? And the results showed that the Earth wasn't the thing rotating, it was the sky. According to the people that know what the fuck is up. I looked at it from, it's like a glance from the outside looking in, and I didn't try to fully comprehend what the experiment was actually all about. Like I know what he had, what he did, but I don't necessarily understand how he was able to deduce it was the sky moving and not the Earth from the experiment. I don't quite understand that, but I didn't go much further than Airy's failure, because I saw that how they refer to that experiment is so telling. They didn't say that he failed at doing the experiment correctly. No, his experiment failed at proving the Earth is rotating. Failed at proving the preconceived. That's not how science works, dude. You don't say an experiment was a failure unless the people doing the experiment didn't do it right. So it's like this little verbal, like, I call that like a, it's disclosure. It's kind of like he failed to prove the thing that we already know. It's like, well, you want to address that though? You want to say why that failed? Or, I mean, it's not a failure. His experiment was done how it was supposed to be done. So you should just call it the anomalous experiment that didn't show what we thought was true or something. I don't know. A failure though, that's just like, that's pretty silly. That pretty much just gives up the game right there, in my opinion. I mean, I can just hear the Glober now going, oh, what faulty logic, what fallacious fucking whatever, dude. Like, just think about what I'm saying, though. Why would it be called a failure if they did the experiment correctly? It's not a failure. It's just an experiment that was done correctly, and it got a result. Nothing about it was a failure. Oh, it failed to prove what you thought was true. So what? Doesn't mean it's a failure of an experiment. It's an experiment that was done how it was supposed to be done, and it got a result that it was designed to get. You just didn't like the result. Oh, boo-hoo. Sorry. But it's like if some numbnuts came along and fucking did an experiment and you didn't do it right and it was just a big failure, you think we'd remember that for the rest of time? Some dumb idiot came along and performed a dumb experiment. He didn't even do it right, and it was just a failure. And now it's in textbooks. It was just an idiot that couldn't even do an experiment. It was a failure. And we're going to talk about him forever. Airy's failure. That poor guy. What a failure. Couldn't get a job after that. Oh, you're that guy Aries? You failed? Oh, yeah, get out of here. You must think the Earth doesn't move. You're crazy. Obviously it moves. Look, the sky is moving. The sky wouldn't move unless the Earth was moving. Come on, man. Duh. Don't you know about solar systems and shit? We've already mapped it all out. It's all been measured out all mathematically. No. That sounds good when you say it, but you have to provide evidence of that, or proof, actually. And here's the thing, there is none. But what's up with that is that they have space industries now. It's space. We have a space agency that goes to space, and if it wasn't for that, they'd pretty much have nothing. It's the space agencies of the world that are propping this shit up still, because it's just falling flat on every corner, every fucking angle. It's just flopped. The Antarctic sun is the last thing the globe has left for itself, other than the space agencies. So it's more like the globies are all cocky and all thinking, but I think in the back of their mind, they're praying, like, please, this is the last thing we have that could possibly prove our shit. It's final for them. That's what they're not addressing. They're not addressing the fact that flat Earth is actually a thing, because the globe proofs were not proofs. They've all fallen flat. All of them. And the space agencies are fraudulent. It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. Of course, the government's not going to admit they're being fraudulent. I mean, we could prove it in a court of law if there was actually a court of law, that was going to be unbiased and fair. We got to get like a flat earther who's like a basically just someone who's got clout to be a judge, you know, so we can actually have that court session where I'm going to bring this case to court that NASA is cheating the fucking taxpayers of the country and like and lying to the whole world. And it's a major crime that needs to be addressed. It's not like something we should just take lightly anymore. Like why can't they provide something that isn't fraudulent? Why have we found so much fraudulent shit with their presentations? The ISS videos, come on, man. There's been so much, that shit's been shot down, dude. I love you, baby. You're so good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hash browns delivered. Oh, you're the best, babe. There are some ISS videos that look real. You know, there's also some space movies that look real. So what? Doesn't mean it is real. Is real. It seems kind of weird that the fakest place on Earth is real. The fakest place on Earth is real. It's not even a real country. No, it can't be, because they refuse to declare any boundaries. Therefore, it doesn't qualify as a real country. That's fact. I shit you not. Israel, the fakest place on Earth, is real. Yes, I kind of got off topic there a little bit. It's all about Israel, you know, our greatest ally. What have they done for us lately? Isn't that what an ally is? It's like they come to your aid when you need aid. I mean, we've had some serious fucking disasters as of late. Has Israel come to help us out with that? I don't think so. I guess you could maybe make that claim since all our politicians have dual citizenship. So technically, when they do things for us here, they're acting on behalf of Israel. But that's all tangled up in fucking upside down logic. And besides, they haven't done jack shit. They said they did. I posted a link to TruthStream Media. You guys probably already all subscribe to TruthStream. But if you go to my community section, I posted a link to TruthStream Media's recent post about the hurricane that happened in North Carolina. It's not looking good there, man. So much toxic shit went into that water. There's a place that got destroyed that makes nuclear energy for submarines. That same place was refining uranium for weapons. All that shit went into the drink. There's a PVC plant. All that shit went into the drink. There's some serious shit. There's horses are dying from like drinking the water. People are getting all these lesions on their skin from touching the mud. It's not safe there at all. Those people have to leave. That's pretty much going to be the end result. You got to clear the fuck out of here. And I probably would have already left if I was those people. I know it's hard to do, but that place is toxic right now, and it's going to be toxic for a long time. And it's just so hard to even look at the situation without thinking, perhaps they wanted this area depopulated. They had no warning. A storm that bad, no warning? How does that happen? That's never happened before. The climate must be changing. Ding, I got the little flag on my video. It's pretty ingenious. We're going to restructure society, reduce the population, corral everyone into these 15-minute cities, and claim it's because of climate change that's prompting all this, and people are going to have to participate if they care about Earth, if they care about like the human race continuing to be able to live here. We have to make some real changes. So you look at the weather events that have been happening. There's a real problem happening. We need to change everything. All they had to do was get control of the weather in some shape or form. Then they could have something to point at to make everybody all scared and corral everyone into a 15-minute city. Look at these crazy fires. It came through and burned the whole city down in 17 minutes. 15 minutes later, it was just dust. The trees were still there, but the metal had melted into a puddle on the road, and it was really hot. Yeah, it would have to be really hot. Funny, that's weird that the wood didn't burn. Make a conspiracy theorist out of people. Funny how there was an emergency declared before the emergency. Funny how they fenced off the entire town after the event and wouldn't let any of the property owners or people that lived there back in to their property because it was unsafe while they were in there carrying on, cleaning up. That seems highly illegal. Funny how the FBI was there arresting people that tried to get back to their property. Funny how the only evacuation routes were blocked by the police during the event, so many people perished because of this. Funny how the water had been shut off during the event, so there was no way anybody could have tried to put the fire out. Funny how the emergency response team wasn't even on the island at the time of the event. Funny how there was already a smart city planned for that same exact location, and there's already been tunnels drilled underneath the city. They could have evacuated everybody out of those tunnels safely. Funny how the chief of police was the same guy that was the chief of police during the Vegas mass casualty event. Funny how he was also the coroner. Funny how that's a glaring conflict of interest. Funny how the fire chief, I think it was, that told the citizens he thought it was a good decision to not sound off any alarms during the event to warn people, how he stepped down in shame a few days later. No alarms. Funny how that same town has the most robust alarm system in the world due to volcanoes and tsunami type shit. But it didn't work that one day when it was needed the most. Actually, it's not funny at all. It's fishy. That's a better word. It's fishy how all the billionaires that have property there didn't get fucked up at all. You know, the corporate buildings got burned down. Funny how that was the one place on the island that hadn't been corporatized because the people didn't sell out to greedy corporate interests. Funny how they're all cleared out now. It took 15 15 minutes for the town to burn down. 15 minutes, better clear the fuck out. And then 15 minutes to put up a fence around it. Now the feds and the FBI, they're all along for the ride. Got to make sure that no one gets inside. Oh, 15 minutes, boy, it ain't pretty getting down to the nitty gritty. Got to make a way for a 15-minute city. Be like suckling off a nipple of a phony titty. No sustenance at all. It's so suspect, sustainable development. 15 minutes for the town to burn down. Whoa, out of tune. Now the feds and the FBI. Funny how it's not the only place that's happened. Kind of like when you look back in the 1800s, late 1800s, every major city in the country had the Great Fire of fill in your city's name right there. It's almost like the same thing happened back then. Why would so many cities have the Great Fire like around the same time period? That's just sus, dude. I'm sorry. That's sus. I did some research, or my girlfriend did the research actually on the San Francisco fire and the earthquake and fire. It doesn't even take that much of a deep dive before you start realizing what the fuck's going on. They were using dynamite as fire breaks after the earthquake, apparently. But it didn't work, right? It just blew things up and caused more fire and devastation. But they kept doing it in every city in the country. There was like these bombs, it's called giant powder. It was like the first explosive that was really a big product around here, because they said it was because of the mining, the gold mining. It was manufactured in a place that's about a half-hour drive from here. I'm gonna go over there one of these days, do a little live stream. But it's like giant powder, and the picture on their little logo or whatever, like their product, giant powder, and it had this giant shaking hands with a little dude with like a our-sized person. Fucking bizarre. But there was reports from Oakland across the bay from San Francisco there, where people were saying that there was like some explosions that happened at this this explosive factory that was in the Bay Area over there, and there was explosions that killed all the Chinese workers that were working there, and killed the whole, like just blew the whole place up. And people in Oakland were saying they thought it was an earthquake. It was such a big explosion, it was shaking, pictures were falling off their walls and shit. That's the kind of thing that was going on back then. Then there was an earthquake. You start to have to think to yourself, you're like, wait a minute, how do we know that was even an earthquake? You know, maybe it was just a fun explosions. They admit to actually blowing things up during that. Like when there's an earthquake, and it's just like fucking, it's the most unsettling. It's so scary and fucked up. All this damage, you know, it's just like you're trying to grapple with a situation. Then there's fires that break out, and it's like, it's scary, dude. The last thing anybody in their right mind is going to think, let's go run around with some dynamite and start blowing shit up. Sorry, that's not something that would happen. No, it isn't. Nope. But it did. And so you have to wonder, why would anybody do that after an earthquake? Let's go blow some shit up with dynamite. How is that going to help at all? And they discovered pretty quick that it didn't help, but they kept doing it. I mean, it's just like the truth is right there in your face. The lies are right there too, but like, it's like when there's events like that, it's just like, whoa, the horrible earthquake in San Francisco. And it wasn't even that long ago. And like, you know, nobody looks that much deeper into it. But if you read that story about the dynamite and that, there was reports, there was accounts of like the military coming through and lighting places on fire. And I heard different reasons for why they were doing that. One reason was that there wasn't insurance for earthquakes, but there was insurance for fire. So people were burning down their houses. But then I heard accounts of the military coming through and lighting places on fire. So it's like, so there was a fire from the earthquake, or you know, I mean, you get all this information to juggle around in your mind, and you're like, wait a minute, they were lighting fires, blowing things up. So was there even really an earthquake? And how did the fires start again? Was it from the earthquake or from them lighting the fire because the earthquake insurance was non-existent and they had fire? And you start getting all these facts, and you're like, so this is the official account here. Like, there's so much. It's not even like a conspiracy theory channel or something. This is where you have to dig into the archives of what happened that time. And they have all this information available that's like, it paints a whole different story, picture, whatever, not to mix metaphors. They have some photos too that are really sus. Like all this destruction, all this shit. There's people all dressed all nicely, and you know, women in these big flowing dresses, and dudes in their suits, top hats, and it's like, I'm sorry, if there was an earthquake, who's gonna be all dressed up like that? There's all this litter and all this trash all over the lawn. There's these people sitting there all dressed all nice. All this shit's all crumbling everywhere. So fucking abstract. Things are so different now. I really doubt, like 100 years from now, there's going to be people looking back at the photographs of what happened here, wondering how all it came to be. I don't know, maybe whatever, who knows. But it's just strange that not that much time has passed since the late 1800s. And there's a growing community of people that are scratching their heads going, how do these simple farm folks, you know, with their wooden shacks and stuff, build these cathedrals and these capitol buildings in these areas out in the middle of the desert or whatever? They were just settling there and there's already a fucking Romanesque, like, come on, man. Which one of these farmers knew how to do that? You know, we just settled out here in 1849 is when the gold rush happened. San Francisco is a sprawling metropolis, you know, 20 years later. What the fuck? 20 years isn't that long a period of time, especially when you're just starting from the ground up. I mean, it takes a while to source materials and fucking create roads and you know, just, I mean, come on, man. It gets to be a pretty tough story to follow. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying that there's some stuff missing. Like perhaps there was already some infrastructure here. That would have made it more believable. Because just the sourcing and zoning and like, you know, all that alone takes forever. To build a sprawling metropolis. We're talking like, you know, masonry buildings and like this really nice stuff, you know. Whatever, I wasn't there, I can't say what happened, but I think there's some stuff left out of the story, that's all I'm saying. That's about as far as I want to go with that one. And I think that's highly plausible. We've been taught to deny our own experience, as if our God-given eyes and ears are deceived. And that's just such a stretch of the imagination, which is why I have inclination to just throw the whole thing away and start all over again. Simply face the music. We could already use it. Just face the music. Face the music. Open up your mind before you lose it. Face the music. It's the truth. You could use it. Open up your mind and use it. Embrace it. Face it. Taste it. Face the music. Face the music. Face it. Open up your mind before you lose it. Face the music. Face the music. Open up your mind and use it. Face the music. Hold on. What's up, you guys? Justin Johnson, my man. Something John Mayer. Oh, I don't know anybody's music except mine. Rethink, what's up, my friend? Nice to see you. I do know some other musicians' music. I know how to play some Ween songs, but they're not really like John Mayer. Play some Ween. Take me away. Take me away. Take me away to some other land. I gotta get away from that girl before I go crazy. Take my love away to another man. Gotta get away from that girl before I go crazy. Take me away. Take me away. Yeah. Take me away to some other land. Well, I gotta get away from that girl before I go crazy. She took my love away. Took it to another man. Gotta get away from that girl before I go crazy. Woo! Take me away. That's not really how they play it, though. I think they do it in like a minor key. Take me slower. But that's Ween. Nobody really knows Ween. I love Ween. Ween's one of my favorite bands ever. They're the guys that sing, push a little daisies and make them come up. Push a little daisies and make them come up. It's a great one. It's a classic. Or piss up a rope. Come on, you guys ever been in a bar before? You can piss up a rope. Watch me giggle. You can piss up a rope and feel the pissy dribble. They're kind of juvenile, I guess. There's always some kind of power tool going. Never a quiet moment out here in these parts, out in the cuts, up in the hills. There's always somebody operating a power tool. Because we're real men out here. This thing sounds like shit all of a sudden. What does John Mayer do? I forget. John Mayer does like a... He's not that guy that does that one song. I want to scream at the top of my lungs. If so... That's gay. I'm gonna roll a cigarette. If that is the guy, though, he did tour with the Grateful Dead, Remnants, and so I do have respect for him. That song was gay, though. That's all I'm saying here. Gay as in happy. All right, where? I want to scream at the top of my lungs. I just found out there's no such thing as the real world. It's just a lie, you got to rise above. It's true, though. Well, there is such a thing as the real world. But what they say is the real world, well, it is kind of a lie, you got to rise above. But what goes up must come down. How do the upwards earthers refer to that one phrase? The thing is, with an upwards earth vector, those people that talk like that, it kind of changes everything. Like if you really truly believe that, like you're gonna have to change the way you talk. Like your friend comes over, hey, would you like me to have some coffee, lose momentum into a glass for you? Sure, that sounds great. Like, you know, if it's raining outside, it'd be like, there's some water losing momentum down to the earth outside. I guess that's all you would have to do is just, instead of saying falling, you just have to say lose momentum. Because there's no such thing as falling. You're only rising up. Or if you're not busy rising up, what you think would be falling is actually just losing momentum. Which sounds silly. They do have to be aware of the fact that they're fighting an uphill battle with that one. Because it just doesn't look like that's what's happening. Maybe they think their little demonstrations are showing that somehow. And I do understand some of their logic. I'm not going to say they're totally, like, not making sense to me. But in the meantime, the Earth feels stationary. And you can say that my weight that I have, my mass, is due to the fact that the Earth is pushing up on me. And I don't know what to say to that. So I guess you could say that I'm feeling this upwards motion because I have weight. But it's getting kind of deep for me at that point. And it's like, is that even necessary to ponder? Because as far as I'm concerned, the Earth is flat and stationary. That's my experience. That's how I interact with it. So I see no point in saying anything else, really. Anything other than that is a moot point. Because you don't have to account for it, and you're not busy experiencing it, really, you know? I mean, you don't have to account for said motion. You don't have to, like, worry, you know, about... I guess they could make the argument that you do, like, because if you fall off a cliff, you're going to lose momentum into the ground. But that's just, like, it gets to the point where you're just thinking, like, it's just, like, bass-ackwards thinking. You think I'd appreciate it a little more, but... The thing is, with their community, they're kind of rude. There's very few upwards earthers that have given me any respect. Because I was, like... I'm fucking genuinely asking questions, and they think I'm trolling them. And so they treat me like a troll. And they're really mean to trolls. And I wasn't even trolling them. It's like, so they really kind of just embarrassed themselves. Well, they don't feel the embarrassment, but I walked away from that shit, you know, thinking, wow, those guys are assholes. But yeah, I wasn't busy trying to succumb to the name calling. I think that's a real childish way of going about looking for truth. It has nothing to do with it, actually. Trying to make someone seem smaller than you is not part of the journey to truth. And another thing about that is, like, when you're ripping on people, you sort of, it's this thing where you sort of like end up looking like the thing that you're saying to them. Like, you're so self-righteous. It's like all of a sudden you seem kind of self-righteous. You spot it, you got it, that kind of thing. It's a cliche for a reason. And just to spare yourself from actually maybe it might not be true, that maybe you're not really whatever it is you're saying about somebody else. But just at the risk of appearing that way, maybe you should just bite your tongue. Because, you don't really know everything. You don't really know what led to the person being the way they are. I was told I was too dense to understand objective reality. And I just stuck to my guns. I'm like, well, my objective reality tells me the Earth is flat and stationary. I even included the caveat, which is like, well, it might be doing some other things, but information I don't need to worry myself over. So it's kind of a moot point. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I'm just going to say that that's not my claim. My claim is that the Earth is flat and stationary. That's how you treat it. That's how you experience it. That's how you account for it. That's how it is. It is what it does. And it ain't what it cannot do. Pretty simple. Words of wisdom. On the subject of Will Duffy, I really hope they go down there and witness the sunset. Because look, there's like this Neil deGrasse Tyson and William Shatner and these other astronauts are going on. They planned a trip. I didn't hear about their trip until after the final experiment was announced. It's almost as though they're planning their trip because they're due to go down there right after all these flat earthers are going down there. And it's like they plan their trip almost as like an effort to do some damage control, it seems. And I mean, either that or this is a huge production being put on and Duffy's like a hired agent or whatever, but I'm not going there. I'm not going to go there until I have sufficient evidence. Right now, it just seems like, right now I'm going to say what I think. It seems sus, but it's like, so far his story checks out as far as I'm concerned. Like, he just wants to go see what's really going on down there. And I don't blame him. I want them to go too. And I trust Jaron and Whitsitt enough to come back with some, if they come back saying they saw it and they have evidence of it and they're acting fishy or something, I'm going to, basically, if they come back with evidence of a 24-hour sun, I'm going to be scrutinizing the fuck out of them. Because I really don't think they're going to see it. I think the fact that there's 24 hours of light down there was enough for these kind of things to perpetuate. Most people go down there thinking it's already an understood fact, and they see that the nighttime never came, so they're just like, yeah, I was down there in the 24-hour sun. And they're not even entirely wrong. It's just that the sun wasn't in the sky at all the time. We've had plenty of first-hand accounts of people that went down there and said, no, you don't see the sun for 24 hours, but it is light. But so it's like, I'm eager to see what's going to happen. I'm excited. And I can just see Neil deGrasse, doing some damage control and being like, oh, those flat earthers didn't go as far south as you needed to go, and making some bullshit because the Earth it's got a bigger bulge than we thought. Now it's even more pear-shaped, and if they had to go even further to see the 24-hour sun, it was light the whole time because Earth is a globe and blah 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 blah. Damage control. Because that's the thing. It's not a coincidence that their trip is planned for right after those guys went down there. That's not a coincidence, I don't think. I mean, like I say, Justin Johnson, you stole my quote. Coincidence is short for cognitive dissonance. I'm glad you stole my quote, though, because it needs to be spread around. It's like something that clever needs to be shared with the world, and nobody listens to me. Although I gotta say, it was pretty wild. Yesterday I had 1,200 people watching me. What the fuck happened? Did somebody share my shit? I don't even have a quarter of that many subs. That's some wild shit, man. That's wild shit. It's like, did YouTube like actually do me a favor for once? Was I on probation and I just haven't said anything about the jabs for long enough, and now I'm just like in the clear? The jabs. COVID was fun for me, man. I had so many good songs I wrote about all that shit, but now they're kind of dated, you know. Like just in case. That's a good song. I like it. You better. That's the only song that YouTube never censored. I've lost channels over the songs I used to write. This one never got censored because it's sarcastic. Once their AI figures out sarcasm, I'm toast. I don't know if it ever will, though. Maybe. Just in case you got to cover your face. Just in case you got to shelter in place. Just in case you got to stay 6 feet away from me. Just in case. Just in case. Just in case. Just in case you gotta do all these things to be safe. Time for you to go and get another jab. Just in case. Just in case. It carries on like that for a while. It gets worse and worse. Just in case. The song is kind of dated now. Or like the quiet part out loud. The quiet part out loud. Shh. We were listening. You just let way too much out of your mouth. You just said the quiet part out loud. Quiet part, quiet part, quiet part out loud. Freudian slip of the tongue. Thanks for the tip, we're done here now. You just let way too much slip out of your mouth. And fact checkers are working overtime, trying to cover your ass from your gaffes. Collapsing all your narratives is embarrassing to say the least. But at least we know now what's going on up in your head. Can't believe what you just said. The quiet part out loud. The quiet part out loud. The quiet part, the quiet part, the quiet part, the quiet part. Shh. This is the quiet part. Shh, 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 shh. It's so quiet. Shh. It's a quiet part. Quiet, 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 quiet part. It's getting too hot. Basking in the sun. I'm gonna put on a t-shirt. There's a part of the show where I disappeared for 2 minutes. Sorry about that. I'll be right back. this is the quiet part. Shh, it's so quiet. A Freudian slip of the tongue. A thanks for the tip, we're done here now. And you just let way too much slip out. I used to start that song with, we need more people to come down here and get euthanized. I mean, immunized. Oh, whoops. I meant to say immunized. Yeah. But you didn't. It sounds kind of the same. But it's not the same. The Freudian slip of the tongue. A thanks for the tip, we're done here now. You just let way too much slip out of your mouth. So John Mayer, huh? Or is it Mayer? John Mayer. He's pretty good. I've seen him play before when he was playing with the Grateful Dead. I'm a huge Deadhead. I used to go fucking on Grateful Dead tour when I was young, when Jerry Garcia was still in the band. Fucking awesomest times of my life, man. It was so fun. So many fun adventures. There's no way to even try to start telling the story. If you don't know what it was all about, then I'm sorry. It was just basically like a whole entire subculture that had fucking built itself around this band and just followed them everywhere throughout the country, around the world too. But like, I only did United States tour, West Coast tour, really. I didn't really go anywhere else. I went to Seattle, Oregon, California, up to Arizona. But these guys, the Grateful Dead, they were just touring ever since they started. They were the guys that like kicked off the acid tests, you know, the LSD culture that formed in the 60s. They were having the acid tests. They were like the house band there at Ken Kesey's house. All that shit's so weird. If you want to read a good book, read the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. I forget who the author is, but it's a famous author. But it's a great book. It's fun. It really is eye-opening, actually. And I do believe it's told pretty truthfully, because my dad was friends with some of those guys back then. He's like the same generation. And he actually verified some of the stories that were told in the book. Oh, yeah, my friend was there. And his friend's name was mentioned in the book. His friend's name was Cool Breeze. Everybody had a cool name back then. Cool Breeze. Who later changed his street name to Cisco Kid. Dan Downing is his real name. He lives in Paris now. He's like a big hit. He's like a street performer. But like, he's got like a pretty big fan base. He turned into kind of a cheeseball. Probably if you look up Dan Downing, you might find some stuff from him. He's cool. He came and visited last summer. He was out here. One of the old school like hippies from way back. He just looks like a normal boomer, you know, gray hair looking, glasses all. But he was one of the freaks back in the day. So was my dad. And, like, he used to go up to San Francisco and hang out. And like he'd seen like Jerry Garcia walking around the streets and shit. That shit really happened, man. It's not like just some fable. You know, when there's like stuff that was that close to your lifetime, you know, it's like not to mention I followed the Dead around, but like my dad actually was hanging with the same guys that were in the band, you know. It's not like the whole thing was a government psyop or something. I'm sure the government played their part, for one thing, in introducing the LSD in the first place. It was all part of a big experiment, I'm sure. The American experiment. The American. The American experiment. I'm just part of an American experiment. I'm just another cog in the machine. Part of the American experiment. If you want to be part of this thing, You gotta move to America to be part of the American experiment. It's almost seen its day. This is the part where it gets run into the ground. You can hear the sound of it now. Listen to it as it crashes down. Romanesque pillars on the ground. The stuff that we have found here never could fulfill to the fullest extent that it was meant to be. No, we were just a new society in an old land. Was this whole thing planned? Something that none of us could have ever been prepared for. To be part of the American experiment. I don't know. You think that could be a song? Did you think it was? It is now. Let's be part of the American experiment. It'll drive you mental indeed. We're gonna have a free country. Okay, let's have a government. What? We're gonna have a free country where everybody's free. Okay, let's institute some. Let's impose an entity that's known as mind control. Let's impose some mind control on this free country. We're gonna have a free country, but we need to mind control you. That way you don't use your freedom too much. Don't use your freedom too hard. Too much freedom will be dangerous. Back in the day, this place used to be free. I know, it sounds scary. That was before we decided to move into prison. It's safe here in prison. You can be safe here. Nothing bad ever happens. It's crazy though, when we first moved into the prisons, we had to kick a bunch of really scary, dangerous people out. They were living there already, but we had to kick them out. Now they're free. It's crazy, I know. It's like, I don't know why they don't want to be in prison where it's safe. They could give up their freedom whenever they want and just come be safe, but freedom is kind of weird. It's like this thing, it's like once you get a little bit of it, you want more, and it's really dangerous. I mean, it's easy to get pulled into, and then most people don't ever come back, you know? They just stay in freedom and don't ever get safe again. It's sad. It's really sad. But what can you do? I mean, you could just have this safety offered for them, and if they want to be free, then I guess they can. It's really sad, but it's kind of gross, really. It's just weird. I don't know why anybody would want to live like that. It's so dangerous. Back in the days of the American experiment, people were meant to be free. But suddenly, there was libraries full of laws. No one man knows all the laws. Although there is a common law, it's not that complicated. It's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. Not the golden shower rule. Everyone gets a golden shower. You can't restrain your power.
You want to guess who this is?
Huh.
I don't know who it is. Somebody's talking that shit. It's on my post, my normal page with my pictures and everything in it. And then I did this one when I did my walk the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my pretty picture. Where'd it go? Where's the comment there? Psychedelics ruined your life. In my opinion, you can see it in your eyes. You're way too low IQ to trust yourself to handle these things. Who do you think that is? It's weird. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Is this some troll or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't talk about psychedelics or anything on my page.
Oh, weird. You got the wrong.
It's
page.
funny. I got a hater, but like, yeah, it's all normal. Like, whatever.
That's so funny. It has nothing to do with
I
psychedelics.
know. I'm just wondering who it is.
Some tripper.
Yeah, I got a hater. Cool.
Yes, you got a hater. Haters make you famous, babe. Oh, weird, huh? You're too low IQ. What the fuck? Right?
That's the only person I could think of.
Ha ha.
Because he's been trying to call me. My mom's been trying to send him to call me, I can tell.
That'd be fucked up.
I just ignored all of them.
I've noticed that people that talk about other people's IQs are usually pretty low IQ.
Right.
Oh shit, I just did it myself.
And it's just like on a happy picture that
I know, huh?
I could see it in your
Some
eyes.
succulent. It's not even a picture anymore.
I know.
Fuck.
None of them were pictures of me. I know.
You want some of this cigarette?
Sure, why not? Oh, there's kitties everywhere. Excuse me. I see you guys. Nana's sleeping on the tarp here. So cute.
Both.
They made a spot for him, I guess. It's so funny.
Oh,
It could be
weird.
my brother.
We should do some investigation on
My mom's got her flying monkey now.
that. I'm sure she does. Especially after this. What a weird thing to be like, to end up on your page and to say something like that. It's like, what the fuck? You came into the wrong conversation. There wasn't even a conversation being had. What the fuck? That's bizarre. Might be.
It might be, yeah. That's the only person I could think would say something.
Are you going to respond?
Yeah.
Good. That's very good.
That's what they want. They want to respond.
Absolutely.
Don't feed the trolls.
Yeah. It's like my new vow. I'm not going to engage in any shit talk anymore.
Yeah. Right. They get stupid when you don't give them any fuel. You know, they're like, why is it not responding?
Yeah, well, it just goes away quicker that way, yeah. If you desire to talk to people that are haters, well, then there's plenty of them. But, like, if you don't engage, then it doesn't continue.
Yeah,
It's like the obvious solution.
yeah, that's why they're all. I'm not saying anything.
I love you, babe. You can assume the opposite is true.
I know,
You gotta be a reverse psychologist to know what's really going on. All of my colors were fading away. All of my colors were fading to gray. All up until this here love that I found came along out of nowhere. Now all my colors come rushing back in. I feel alive again, standing here in this love. Walk right through this here just have to live with reasons you might never see. Some things you just have to live with, whether or not you agree. Most of the time, you will find that you'll settle for what you see. Some things you just have to live with. Some things you have to live down. Sometimes you gotta draw the line in the sand between you and I. Never say never, don't say don't. Now you will what you won't. Some things you just have to live with. Some things you have to let be. Some things you have to be about. Some things you must go without. Some things you have to have a little patience before they show. Some things you'll never know. Some things you'll never say. They're not meant to be spoken. Some things are meant to be broken, but you better know where you're going to draw the line. It's only you alone who's gonna live with it. You have to live with it. You have to live with it. Some things you just have to live with. Some things you just have to live with. You have to live with it. Some things you have to live with. Come. They must become. Some things you have to see for yourself. Some things you just have to live with. You have to live with it. You have to live with it. You better live. You have to live. Yeah. Some things you just have to live with. You have to live with it. You better live. Fell off my horse right there at the end of the song. I was getting too excited. I don't fall off my horse. Oh, I put it on too tight now. Now my horse is on too tight. Gotta loosen up my saddle. Where was it? I had that sucker loose. Some things you just have to do with. Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's how I did it. I'm a rebel. What was I doing that key in? Let's see. I'm a rebel. So rebel. I'm a capturer. Soul adventurer. Said I'm a living man. Said I'm a living man, and I've got work to do. If you're not happy, children, then you must be blue. What was I doing wrong? If you're not happy, children, then you must be blue. You must be blue, a rebel. So rebel. I'm a capturer. Soul adventurer. See the morning sun. See the morning sun on your side. If you're not living good, I beg you travel wide. Travel wide. I'm a rebel. So rebel. I'm a capturer. Soul adventurer. Said I'm a living man. Said I'm a living man, and I've got work to do. And if you're not busy living good, you better travel wide. You must be blue. Must be blue. I'm a rebel. Oops. A soul rebel. I think it's a really good song. I just figured that out yesterday. And I like it. Bob Marley and the Wailers. Shout out to Bob Marley and the Wailers. Do another one of their songs. I don't even know the name of it. Sunshine that's my day by day. No moon by night. See, the sun shall not smite thy by day. No, the moon by night. And everything that I do shall be up full and right. Up full and right if it's all night. Yeah, it's got to be alright. If it's all night, ooh, it's got to be alright. Yeah. Mama, don't lose this one. I'm a lucky one under the sun. And then if you make me move, then you know you've got to groove all night. It's got to be alright. If it's all night, it's got to be alright. Yeah. Tear it drop. Break it back. Tear it drop. Wipe those lonely tears from your eyes. I'll tell you why. 'Cause it's all night. Yeah. It's got to be alright. Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you like it? I can't quite do it how they used to. It's Bob Marley and the Wailers. Bob Marley ended up playing that same song later with his other band that he made, his solo band. But he named that song Night Shift. He kind of changed it a little bit. It's on the Rasta Man Vibration album. Working on the night shift with the forklift. Where's my coffee? There it is. Working on the night shift like the old Whalers version better, though. Bob Marley's such a legend. 16 Alpha V in the house. "16 Alpha V knows how to set shit straight, man. If anybody knows how to set you straight, it's 16 Alpha V. I don't even know if I pronounce your screen name correctly. It's a very mysterious screen name you have, my friends, but I like it. I don't know why I like it. Probably because you say cool things. And very few are like you, 16 Alpha V. Although I've never seen your face, I know that you're like me. We see things in a similar way. I don't want to get too savvy on you. It's huge marshmallows in my coffee. Make sure I don't have any marshmallow on my mustache. That'd be embarrassing. There's mosquitoes on the river. Fish are rising up like birds. It's been hot for 7 weeks. You ought to even speak. Did you hear what I just heard? Say it might have been a fiddle. It could have been the wind. But there seems to be a beat. I can feel it in my feet. Listen, here it comes again. There's a band out on the highway. They're hot stepping into town. It's a rainbow full of sound. There's fireworks, calliopes, and clowns. Everybody's dancing. Hey, come on, children, come on, children, come on, clap your hands. Clap your hands. Well, the sun went down in honey. And the moon came up in wine. And the stars were spinning dizzy. And the band kept us so busy we forgot about the time. They're a band beyond description, like Jehovah's favorite choir. People joining hand in hand while the music plays the band and the setting us on fire. Beep bop boop beep bop boop beep bop boop bop. Crazy rooster crowing midnight. Balls of lightning roll along. Old men sing about their dreams. Women laugh and children scream. And the band keeps playing on. Keep on dancing till the daylight. Greet the morning air with song. No one's noticed, but the band's all packed and gone. Will they ever hear it all? But they kept on dancing. Hey, come on, children, come on, children, come on, clap your hands. Clap your hands. Well, the cool breeze came on Tuesday. The corn's about to crop. The fields are full of dancing, full of singing and romance, and you know the music never stops. love that song. It's by the Grateful Dead. The music never stops. It's kind of corny, but I like it. Corny. I said corny. One of the lyrics, the corn's a bumper crop. What the fuck? That shit just cracks me up. I guess he's talking about people like bumping on the dance floor or something. Bumping. It's a corn's a bumper crop. Pretty stupid lyric, gotta admit, but it's okay. I like the part where like, no one's noticed, but the band's all packed and gone. That's so cool. Will they ever hear it all? But they keep on dancing. You can just picture a bunch of hippies all, wee! It's so fun. It was fun. You had to be there, man. Good times were had by all. Much LSD was ingested. Some of the crazy experiences in my life, man. I've had some crazy experiences on Dead Tour. I had the proverbial meltdown one time at a show in Portland. Basically, it was like controlling the entire audience and the band with my mind. The band played every song I told them to play. Every one. There was people around me that couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Because the Dead come out there, they don't even have a set list. They just improvise. They just play all, they have like hundreds of songs to choose from. So to call those songs out before they play them is a kind of a major thing. But I was like right there in their mind. I was in their mind. I made them play it every... I left towards the end of the show after the second set started. So it got to a point where I was like, this is too much. I can't believe this is happening, you know? I was wigging people out. This one dude like sort of had a fucking... He's like, you got to get the fuck out of here. I read his mind. He's like, you got to leave or I'm going to fucking wig out. Because I was calling all the songs. It was weird. People were like, how are you doing this? I'm like, I'm in their mind. I was saying some whack shit. But I was. And later I was in a whole different spot during the second set. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. This is too weird. I finally came to that conclusion in my mind. I got to leave. And fucking the second I had that thought, thousands of people parted out of my way. I like part of the Red Sea of deadheads. Just thousands of people moved out of my way. There was a path, and I started walking. And I looked behind me. It was closing up behind me. It wasn't like they were making way for somebody else. But I was the one, and they were all looking at me as I was walking. I was like, hey, I was all hi. Like just kind of walking, and the path closed up behind me as I walk, you know. And eventually, I realized I walked out of the show, and I was like, oh fuck! And I had this weird like short circuit where I'm like, I just left. Why did I do that? And I went to get back in. And they're like, sorry, you can't come back in after you leave the show. And the song ended right then. And the whole audience was like, yeah, you know, like they would after a song. But they were all facing me. I was on the side, you know, everybody was cheering and they're facing me like, you finally left, yay. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. I shit you not, it happened just like that. Oh my God. LSD is a powerful drug, man. That cigarette's toast. All right, I gotta wrap this show up. It's getting long in the tooth. Love you guys. Don't be strangers in my echo chamber. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Come again. Yes, sir.